Welcome to my voice reaction video, highlighting some fabulous Mrs Maisel moments beautifully enacted by Rachel Brosnahan. I'm SJ Harrison, voice and performance coach, and if you know my videos, you know that I dive into all aspects of using your voice effectively. My goal is to provide you with unconventional public speaking resources, highlighting different aspects of public speaking training. I love this series, The Marvelous Mrs Maisel, and in watching season 4, I was particularly struck by how the series deals with the concept and the struggle for authentic voice. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that I have launched a new program called Empower Your Voice to support people all over the world with public speaking, meetings, and presentations. So check it out in the text below, and there'll also be more information at the end of this video. In this episode, Midge is doing radio gigs to make ends meet. This clip ties into voiceover technique and embodied performance. Let's have a look.
Without cabs, I show up looking gross and sweaty.
It's fucking radio. It doesn't matter how you look.
But I'll feel bad, and if I feel bad, it'll show up in my voice.
Okay, but we cannot lose money doing this.
So you can see the connection Midge is making between how she feels in her body, how she feels about herself in that moment, and how it will translate into her voice. This is just something she knows. It's a fact for her. This is something a lot of people don't realize. We are completely connected in our performance instrument. Let me give you a more practical example around voiceover technique. When my first play was produced on BBC Radio 4, I got to watch the actors enacting my play in a sound studio. So they were not sitting the whole time. They were not like this with their scripts in one position. They were moving around and physically enacting everything that was happening, whether it was walking, whether it was a conflict they were having with another actor, they'd be on their feet engaging with the other actor in that process, even though only their voices would be present in the radio play. Because what comes through the body, what comes through the feelings comes through the voice. When they were driving a car, they had a sort of a mock-up of a car with a windshield. That's also to do with how sound travels when you're sitting behind a windshield, but it's very much about understanding the embodied actor. BBC Radio still has amazing plays that come out, and you will hear on there how embodied those voices are. I had a different experience with a different production company and another radio play I'd written, and the actors were sitting the whole time, and they were not performing with each other in a fully engaged way, and it made such a difference. The result of that particular performance was rather disappointing. So Midge is touching on, in just these few sentences, the importance of voice as a barometer for everything else that's going on. So even though I'm sitting here right now in front of you, I'm actually sitting on a bouncy ball. So that, first of all, it's more comfortable, but so that I can still keep engaged with my feet on the floor, so that I can still keep engaged with what the rest of my body is doing. So this is something to think about when you're on Zoom. This is something to think about when you're on a podcast. Can you make that experience, even if you are sitting, a little bit more engaged and embodied? And some of it simply has to do with gesturing, even if you know people won't see you. And then breathing, so that you're breathing fully to support your voice.
Orleans, Myrtle Beach, and now the Apollo. All those shows, one of a kind. The kind of shows that only I could do.
Agreed.
Susie,
Miriam,
you know what's great about me?
your humility?
No, it's when I'm me. So why would I wait until I finally have enough power to say to them, I want to be me? What if they never let me be me?
They will.
I want to be me every time I walk out on that stage. You will.
So here's a question. What does it mean to be fully ourselves on stage, in front of the camera, in front of a meeting or presenting? What does it even mean to be fully ourselves with those that we're closest to? So I just thought I'd let that hang for just a second. I absolutely love this clip because for myself, I think there's been a lifelong journey around being able to be authentic, because it matters a lot to me, And then understanding what that means. Does it mean that we show all parts of ourselves in every arena? I don't think it does. For example, Midge, she's on stage and she's very much being herself. She is performative, so we can heighten our expression when we're on stage and be performative. And yet she is still speaking an essential truth of herself in every performance. And I think that's what it means to be authentic on stage. It's about speaking, expressing, embodying, again, that word, an essential part of ourselves when we're on stage. It doesn't mean we share everything to everyone or everything to our audience. It just means that what we do share is a genuine expression of ourselves. And coming from an acting background, this is one of the things that I found the hardest about being on video on YouTube. And in fact, when I begin my videos, like I did this one, there's always just a little more tension and a little more presentation. And like right now, when I've really sunk into it, it just starts to flow and I've warmed up. And that's okay. I think I'm wanting to share this with you because I want you to feel when you're up in front of a group and sharing that it's okay if you start out as a slightly stiffer version of yourself, trying to remember what you're going to say, as long as every time you've gotten to a place where you can relax and even enjoy what you're doing and what you're saying. And so that's the goal that I have when I'm helping people show up for public speaking and learn to become more comfortable. It was a journey for me to be more comfortable being myself. I have for many, many years felt comfortable being a character that I've practiced and rehearsed. It's a different thing just being SJ in front of the camera or in front of a group.
You know, my father once said to me, if you're gonna have a voice, you better be careful what that voice says.
I adore this statement because it's quite a challenge to us, isn't it? When we think about the impact of our words. I think that clients often have a message they really want to share with the world, depending on whether they're going to be doing a TED Talk, for example. That's a really big thing. And then once you start to be in the public eye, however small or large, you start to become aware of the power of voice and the power of your voice. When you're in front of an audience, that is a responsibility. In fact, I think it's one of the largest responsibilities. And we certainly see around the world at this time and throughout history, but it's very much up there right now. People who have been in positions of power, not respecting the power of voice in the sense that they're abusing their position, not caring what the impact is, or in fact, quite consciously wanting to have a negative impact on people. So I think, what is your voice saying? And sometimes this is the reason that people hold themselves back. They're actually afraid of what will happen if they really are in the public eye, and what will happen if people don't like what they're saying. What will happen if they say the wrong thing or make a mistake? I often feel this when I'm on a podcast. I suddenly become aware of the importance of exactly how I phrase something. And it's a delicate balance, again, with authenticity and with consciousness and spontaneity. So we want to be conscious about what we're saying. We also want to be authentic and spontaneous, and we want to be careful. These things can sometimes be in opposition to each other. So thinking about voice in the larger sense and with a sense of responsibility, I think is extremely important.
But a voice is a powerful thing. It can shine a light on something that is hiding in the dark. It can make a couple of guys sit when they want to go. It can change the way people think, which can change the way people act. But it can't do anything if you keep your mouth shut. Well, lesson fucking learned.
I just love that clip. And it really, it feels so profoundly authentic. Yes, she's acting, she's playing a role. And I feel that the actor in that moment is completely behind what they're saying. It's a fundamental truth. She's speaking to fundamental truths. The writer is speaking through her, these fundamental truths. And I wish for you as a speaker that this is something that you will learn. And what I mean by that is that you have the impact that you want, that you feel you're having a positive impact. Because when we make our mark and when we make an impact, there's bound to be a moment where we feel we've stumbled in front of an audience. And that actually makes us stronger. If we can see that we have flaws and that we have shown them to people and that we have gotten up and been able to present and perform again, that's very empowering ultimately. So I wish you the best, and do check out my program Empower Your Voice. If you're watching this soon after recording, I'll let you know that for the month of July, there's a huge discount because I'm just launching this new program and I'm really wanting to get the word out. You can book a call with me to have a face-to-face free consult in case you want to explore a bit more about that program or also other ways of working with me. So don't be a stranger. Let me know if you'd like a consult. There's a link also below this video. Here's to unlocking your performance power.
Thank you and good night.